In the sky, gazing far into the night, I raise my hand to the fire, but it's no use, 'cause you can't stop it from shining through. It's true, baby, let the light shine through. If you believe it's true, baby, won't you let the light shine through for you. In the sky, gazing far into the night, I raise my hand to the fire, but it's no use, 'cause you can't stop it from shining through. It's true, baby, let the light shine through. If you believe it's true, baby, won't you let the light shine through for you.
Hello and welcome to the opening round of the Spec F1 Esports PS4 Pacific Series Tier 1 League. My name is Expert and I'll be your commentator throughout the entirety of Season 2. We are here in Melbourne for the Australian Grand Prix around the Albert Park Street Circuit for the traditional opening round of the F1 World Championship season. This track is not one to take lightly with the tight twisty corners and massive curbs asking to throw you into the barrier if not taken carefully. The 3.285 kilometer street circuit has a total of 16 turns, 6 to the left and 10 to the right. We welcome a lot of new drivers into the league this season and also some familiar faces from Season 1 of the Pacific Series. Tier 2 champion Curving Texas moves up the ranks into Tier 1, joining the Renault F1 team alongside Season 1 frontrunner Plebs. The two Mercedes drivers as well will be one to look out for, them two both being brothers as well, Zach Krun and Kasush, so they're definitely going to be one to watch too. Unfortunately Kasush I don't believe is in the lobby for tonight's or this afternoon's race, so Aaron L3F4 will be replacing him for tonight's race. But as you can see on your screens now, we're going to read out the Pacific Series Tier 1 driver lineup for you guys. Sideshow Prod, as you can see, and Banana Cake Pie will be taking the Red Bull seat, so hopefully none of them end up being like Gasly and don't get dropped. But that is your Red Bull lineup then. As I read out before, P. Crun and Kasush are the two Mercedes AMG F1 drivers for the Season 2 of the Pacific Series. Zephy and Go01 GT in the Haas F1 team. Then it will be the Renault driver of Plebs and Tier 2 champion Curving Texas. That's a pretty strong lineup as well from the Renault F1 team, so that'll definitely be one to watch as well. But also 40 and Crossy F1, the two Ferrari drivers. I do believe they were both in McLaren last season, so they both have swapped over to Ferrari, so that's definitely going to be one to watch. Then it is Extra Evolution and the Very Lazy Tail replacing those two drivers in McLaren. Then it will be the two Alfa Romeo drivers of Swaggy291 and Shumbo123 for Alfa Romeo. Then it's the Rock F1 and Dr. Dre 3000 taking out the Toro Rosso seats. The two Williams drivers of Toddstar and a new driver joining the league, VSR Roscoe Arm, Spilly and Jay Schmidt will be our two Racing Point drivers for Season 2. And as you can see down the bottom, the reserve drivers are I Contrast, Alex96NZ, Danny D, Romy Alonso, Aaron L3F4 who is racing tonight, and NBC Alcatraz who are your reserve drivers for the Spec F1 Esports PS4 Pacific Series. So we're going to head over to the main screen now. See the drivers are now heading out for their qualifying session here around the Albert Park Street Circuit. We have full grid this afternoon as well of 20 drivers. That's definitely going to be an interesting race. A lot of these drivers are very close on pace as well, so it will bring hopefully some really good racing here this afternoon. You can see Dr. Dre now in the Toro Rosso. He's coming to the final sector. He looks like he's about to start his lap. The Rock, his teammate, the Rock F1 in P2 at the moment. I don't know why I said P2. He is opting to start on the hard tyres for his first run. Sorry about that. I'm just trying to get the stream up on my computer so I can see the live chat. But anyway, as you can see now, the Rock F1 will be one of the first drivers to set a lap. He is on the hard competitor tyre, so I'm not expecting him to probably be on pole position if he is opting to qualify on this set of tyre. He's got a lot of oversteer on the exit of turn 2. He nearly did a Valtteri Bottas into the wall, but manages to keep it off the barrier. That's definitely going to cost him as he headed down that straight. Hello everyone, welcome to the stream, welcome to Arnold, welcome Snap, welcome Alcatraz, Eliza, I think that's how you say your name, sorry if I said it wrong, Jack Lim HD, welcome to the stream everyone. As you can see now, 14 minutes and 45 seconds remain in the session. Swaggy looks like he's one of the first drivers to complete a lap. He's heading through the final sector now. Is the Alfa Romeo driver. Where's this going to move him up to? He heads through the final corner now, opens DRS nice and wide. He's going to come under the Rolex board. About 100 meters to the line. What's he going to do? He's going to do a 1 minute. I can't actually see that. 1 minute 20.607. Shumbo now, his teammate. So both the Alfa Romeos currently sitting in P1 and 2. Obviously, both of them the only drivers that have set a lap so far. Shumbo set a 21.3. Zach Crichton now goes into pole position with a 1 minute 20.2. He goes 4/10 of a second quicker than his Swaggy behind him in the Alfa Romeo. Zeffy is now gone into P3 for Haas, ahead of Aaron L3F4, the reserve driver. In the Mercedes, replacing Kasusha's spot for this afternoon's race, is now into P5. And now extra evolution for McLaren up into P2 with a 1 minute 20.421. Zach Crichton currently got a 2/10 lead. Zach Crichton, formerly known as P. Crichton as well. So Todster now in the Williams has now gone up to P4. Currently 11 drivers have set a lap. Spilly's gone into P10 with a 20.37, but he's now knocked down to P9 now. Sorry, P11 now to P12 as Roscoe Arm now goes into P4 for Williams. Currently a Williams 4-5 at the moment. Nice job there from the Rocket Williams team. 40 has now split the two Williams. For Ferrari up into P5 goes 40. Have a quick look at your gap here. At the moment, as you can see, the top five are all split by 5/10 or just under 5/10 of a second. Sideshow Prod, the Red Bull driver, down in P17, still yet to start a lap. He looks like he's on his outlap now, or he may have just made a mistake at turn 1 because he is not on his outlap. He's opting to use the medium set of tyre. The top 12 in this grid have also opted to start on the soft compounder tyre. Clevs is now going into P11 as well for Renault. Crossy, 40's teammate now, up into P6. So 40 and Crossy, the two Ferraris, up into P5 and P6. But as it stands now with 12 minutes and 20 seconds remaining, Zach Crichton sits on pole position with a 1 minute 20.276. 1.145 tenths faster than Extra Evolution in the McLaren behind him. Then it's Swaggy, who will be the first driver on the second row. He'll have VSR Roscoe alongside him so far. Then it'll be the two Ferraris of 40.22 and Crossy F1. Todster 99 for Williams. Want to definitely be beating his teammate this season. He will not be wanting to sit behind him. Zeffy in P8 for Haas. Aaron L3F4 in P9 for Mercedes, and rounding out your top 10 so far is the Alfa Romeo driver of Shumbo 123. And Plebs at the moment in P11 for Renault. P12 is the very lazy towel McLaren driver. Then there's the Toro Rosso of Dr. Dre 3000. The last of the driver, sorry, I should say Curving Texas now. Tier 2 champion from Season 1. First of the drivers that have opted to go into the medium tyre, but it looks like he will have to go out for a soft tyre run. Jay Schmidt opting to do the same strategy. He is on a set of mediums as well. He's currently sitting in P15. It looked like he was just starting a lap there. Banana Cake Pie down in P16 at the moment. 2.6 seconds off the pace. He's definitely going to have a little bit of work to do. The Rock F1 now entering the pit lane. From the hard tyres he just said, he's definitely going to have to go on to at least the medium. Potentially even a soft. Sideshow Prod in P19 still yet to set a lap. He did go out for a lap, but unfortunately I think he may have invalidated or potentially stuffed up the first few corners, I do believe. And Ghost 01 GT, who's just exited the pit lane now by the looks of it. He is down in P20, still yet to set a lap. But Zach Crichton now, our current pole position man, is still leading the way. He's on his outlap. So the majority of the drivers on the grid. So this looks like now Swaggy291 is starting a lap. His second run here, he is on a fresh set of soft tyres. Heads the final corner now. He's about to start his lap. VSR Roscoe is still in the pits for Williams. 40 looks like he's on an outlap. Crossy is still in the pits. Zach's on an outlap as well. He's coming through the final sector now. He's about to start his lap. Extra Evolution has a little bit of traffic in front of him, so he may have to back out a bit. But Swaggy has gone through turn 1 and 2. He's not too sure how he got it, but he's heading into turn 3 now. Gets the car turned in nicely, a little bit late on the gas, so that's going to cost him very marginally. But every little mistake at the moment, as you can see, the grid is just so tight. Every little mistake is going to cost you. Heading into Sector 2 he goes now. A little bit wide on exit, potentially could have invalidated his lap there. But he's still continuing on. Heading into this right-hander now. Brake just before the 100-meter board, turns it in very early and runs very wide on exit. Really, I'm surprised if he didn't invalidate his lap there. He's gone back down to overtake. Has Swaggy heading through the fast left-right chicane. Very cautious through there. Didn't seem to be pushing too hard. Heading into the final sector now. Swaggy goes into the probably the trickiest part of the track. Through this right-hander now. Very easy to run it very wide on exit. This corner as well, the penultimate corner. Very easy to lock the inside front as it is off camber. Heads through the final corner now. Does the Alfa Romeo driver. Will he improve on his time? On P3, he's going to come across the line now. What time does the Alfa Romeo driver set? He goes up into P2. He's 1.124 tenths of a second off Swaggy. Sorry, off Zach Crine, I should say. X Revolution is 0.145 tenths off Zach Crine at the moment, but Zach is on a lap. He is coming through the final corner now. That was Spilly that nearly got in Zach's way, but he's going to come down the main straight now. It is the Mercedes driver. What time is he going to set? He's going to go faster. He's going to set a 1 minute 20.129 for the Mercedes F1 team. He still maintains or edges out his pole position a little bit more. You see Roscoe Arms now out on track 40.22. Looks like he is on a lap at the moment. He's heading through the middle sector. That's ahead. He's heading through this long left-hander now. Want to keep it as tight as possible to minimize track distance. Now through this fast left-right-hander. Gets through there nicely. Very easy to lose the rear end through the second part of that corner. Heading into the final sector now. 40.22 goes for Ferrari. I'm just going to quickly see how much he's off on his time. It says he's 5 tenths of a second up on his time. So this should probably move him into the top 3. Assuming he doesn't get blocked here by the Renault of Curving Texas that now pulls into the pit lane. Through the final corner now. Very cautiously there. Didn't look like he had the turning from that Ferrari that he needed. But he's going to come across the line now as 40. He's going to go up into P3. Just under 2 tenths of a second of Zach Crichton's time. Aaron L3F4 now, I should point out as well, goes to P2, so making it a Mercedes 1-2 at the moment. 8/100ths of a second of Zach Crichton. Doing a very nice job there is Aaron L3F4. For Mercedes, both the Mercedes cars are doing very well at the moment. 40 has just completed his lap. Swaggy is now in the pit lane. X Revolution has just come out of the pits to do his second run, I do believe. Roscoe is on a lap. He's heading through the middle sector now. We're going to ride on board with him. I didn't see how much he was up on his time there. But anyway. To the long left-hander he goes. I need to learn these corner names. So not corner names, they're corner numbers. Flat out through that second part of the left-right chicane there. Nice job there from the Williams driver. Heading in through the final sector he goes now. Locks the inside front very briefly there. Runs it out nice and wide using all the track available to him. Using all the inside curb and exit curb. Brake just before the 50-meter board. About to head through the final corner now. He runs it wide though through the final corner. That's going to cost him down the straight potentially. He's going to come across the line now. Is Roscoe and West is going to move him up to into P4. The Williams driver goes 2 tenths of a second of Zach Crichton. Very tight field at the moment between our top 6. Just under 3 tenths of a second between Zach Crichton and X Revolution. And it's a little bit of a gap between him, X Revolution, and Zephy. There's about 4 tenths of a second. We're going to read through your orders. There's 6 minutes remaining in the session. The 2 Mercedes drivers are locked out on the front row at the moment of Zach Crichton and Aaron L3F4. Very tight between them as well. 8/100th of a second between Zach Crichton and Aaron. 40.22 for Ferrari. MP3 at the moment leading VSR Roscoe Arm. MP4 for Williams. P5 will be Swaggy 291 who looks like he's on an out lap now to do his third and potentially final run. X Revolution now for McLaren. He's just started his second run, I do believe. Zephy in P7 for Haas. P8 will be Toddster 99. MP9 will be Crossy F1 who looks like he's about to finish his lap. Jay Schmidt now for Racing Point goes up into P8. Looks like Crossy's coming into the pit lane now. But very close to that wall. Luckily not to lose any front wing or potentially lose his wheel. But as I said, Jay Schmidt now into P8. Toddster trying to get out of the way. Looks like he's put it in the wall. Trying to get out of the way of drivers. Dr. Dre, MP11. That's Jay Schmidt. Getting out of his way there. Shumbo, MP12. Making the step up from Tier 2 into Tier 1 this season. I do believe Shumbo did finish P2 in the Tier 2 championship as well. Plebs MP3. Sorry, 13 as well. Not a very good or massive show at the moment from the 2 Renault drivers. Definitely would have thought there would be a bit more time in those 2. Especially Plebs, I do believe, finished P3 last season. Or in Season 1 of the Pacific Series Tier 1 League. The Rock, MP14 at the moment from Toro Rosso. Runs a little bit wide through turn 3. That's going to cost him as he's heading down the straight. Spilly now for Racing Point. Up into P3 he goes. And now X Revolution has gone fastest with a 1 minute 19.888. 2 tenths quicker than Zach Crichton. But Zach Crichton is now starting his lap. So will Zach be able to respond to that? He's heading to start his lap now. Down the main straight he goes. Spilly is now just finished his lap as well. He moved into P4. Swaggy MP7 as well. Going back through the order, MP16 then was Ghost 01 GT for Haas. He's on his out lap now. He'll be starting most likely his final run. The very lazy tail for McLaren. Definitely not where he'll want to be considering his teammate is on pole position. Banana Cake Pie down in P18 for Red Bull. Then it will be Curving Texas, Tier 2 champion. MP19, who looks like he's about to start his second run. Or potentially third. He is now on the soft compound attire finally. Off that medium set. And Sideshow Rod looks like he is on his out lap as well. But Zach Ryan, now we're going to ride on board with him because he's definitely going to want to respond to extra evolutions time. They use a lot of entry curb there, so he could have potentially invalidated his lap. I'm surprised how much the drivers are getting away with the amount of curbing they're using on the inside. But heading through, the fast left-right-hander there uses a lot of curb on entry and exit. Still gets through there by the looks of it without invalidating his lap. But he's heading into the final sector now under the Rolex bridge. Brake just before the 50-meter board, locks it inside front very briefly. Looked like he lost the rear a little bit as well on turning, but he gets through. Heading up to the penultimate corner now. Brake just before the 50-meter board, locks it inside front again, pushing it a little bit too hard. But he's heading through the final corner now. Is the Mercedes driver. What time is he going to be able to do? He opens DRS nice and wide. Under the Rolex board, he goes up to the line. What does Zach Ryan do? He goes 5/1000ths of a second off extra evolution time. That is the gap, or the difference between our top two drivers at the moment. 5/1000ths of a second between Zach Ryan and extra evolution. I reckon if Zach didn't lock any of those front tyres there, he would have been able to move himself up into potential pole position for this Grand Prix, Australian Grand Prix. Aaron L304 still sitting in P3 at the moment for Mercedes. Zephy looks like he's about to start a lap for Haas. He's heading through the final sector now. Through the final corner he goes, opens DRS nice and wide. Does the Haas driver. A few drivers heading out of the pit lane there. That was Jay Schmidt, who is now sitting in P9 right behind Zephy as well. Gets through turn 1, uses all the exit curb available. Heading into turn 3 now. Going to turn it in a bit later than you think. Turn 4. Very easy to run it wide here and lose the rear end. Turn 5. Also very easy to lose the rear if you use too much curb. Through turn 6. Now into turn 7. Wouldn't say it's 100% at the moment from Zephy. I have to see. I want to have a quick look here, see if it tells me if he's up on his time. He uses a lot of entry curb and mid-apex curb as well. A lot of the drivers seem to be using it. Say normally I get invalidated for that, but it's probably just my luck. Heading through the faster left-right-hander. He has to lift off through the second section now. Zach Ryan has retired from the session. He doesn't think he's going to go any faster. Well, he will not get another time in. So he's going to have to settle for P2 or potentially worse. Zephy is now heading through the final sector. He runs it wide though. He's in the gravel, but now he's heading into the penultimate corner. I think he's backed out for this lap, unfortunately. So that's unfortunate there for Zephy. Will he try and go again? Yeah, it doesn't look like he has enough fuel, but now Zephy is going to have to settle for P8 or potentially worse. Not a good result, or result there, I should say, from the Haas F1 team. So Gunther will not be happy with that at all. A lot of the drivers now are on their lap or about to, or starting their final run. Crossy now is starting his final run. He's heading through the sector 2 split about now. He's 0.125 of a second up on his time at the moment. So that should move him into the top 8. That's how tight everyone is at the moment. There's 9/10, exactly 1.1 seconds between our top 12 at the moment. Dr. Dre is starting a lap. Crossy's actually backed off his lap now, so he must have invalidated. It looked like he used a lot more curb heading on the start of the second sector than what other drivers were using, so he must have invalidated his time. That's unfortunate there for Crossy F1. He's not going to be able to respond to his teammate being all the way MP5, who is 6/100ths of a second up on his time at the moment. He's neck to neck at the moment with Spilly's time. MP4. He's going to have to get a really nice final sector here. Is 40. Well, the rest of the second sector and final sector. Zephy is now retired from the session. Doesn't think he can go any faster. Heading through the fast left-right-handed now. Does 40. Uses a lot of curb on the entry. Manages to collect it up though. Looked like he was going to lose the rear end. Very briefly there. Heading through the final sector now. Is he up on his time? Fortunately doesn't tell me. Dr. J is now retired from the session. MP12. Unfortunate for the Toro Rosso driver. Into the penultimate corner. 40 goes. No lockups or anything so far from the Ferrari driver. Swaggy now has retired from the session. Heading onto the main straight now. Does 40. Will he be able to improve on his time? He's going to come across the line about now, and he moves himself up into P3 for Ferrari. Nice job there from 40. Aaron L3F4 is still on a lap. He's actually a 10 down on his time at the moment, so he's going to have a little bit of time he's going to have to try and find. He definitely did not get that second part of the left-right chicane right there. X Revolution's gone even faster now. He set a 1 minute 19.738. Very fast and competitive time there from the McLaren driver. He's 1/10 of a second faster than Zach Crichton, what he managed to set. VSR Roscoe Arm now has moved up into P5 for Williams. Aaron L3F4 is coming through the final corner now. I think he's actually down on his time, unfortunately, so I'm not too sure if he will improve. Unfortunately, he was down on his time there. He was 1/10 down on his previous lap time, so that's unfortunate. He's going to have to settle for P4 or worse. But that looks like it will be the grid for the Australian Grand Prix of round 1 of the PS4 Pacific Series Tier 1 League. X Revolution takes pole position from the McLaren F1 team ahead of Zach Crichton in Mercedes. Very nice job there from X Revolution to beat Zach Crichton. As we all know, Zach Crichton is a very quick driver in this league. It's very good, or you know you're doing well if you aren't beating him. 40 in P3 as well for Ferrari. That is your top 3 for the Race Spec F1 Esports PS4 Pacific Series Tier 1 League. 3 different, I do believe it is 3 different teams in the top 3 as well. It is. So McLaren, Mercedes and Ferrari in the top 3. Then it is Aaron for Mercedes in P4. Roscoe Arm is in P5 for Williams with, he was 5/10 of a second off the pace in the end, so he's going to have a little bit of work to do. He was 1/100th of a second faster though than Spilly. Swaggy in P7 as well for Alfa Romeo. Alongside him will be Zefty in the Haas, and it will be Jay Schmidt in P9, and then Renegade top 10 will be the other Williams of Toddster 99. Crossy F1 came home P11 for Ferrari, and a disappointing result there from Plebs in the Renault. Dr. Dre in P13, 14th will be his teammate The Rock, Shumbo, Curving Texas, Go 1 GT, Very Lazy Tail, Banana Cake, and Sideshow Prod rounds out your top 20. But now we're going to head over to the grid for the Pacific Series Australian Grand Prix. Sorry, I apologize for that. I muted the wrong thing. But anyway, as you can see now, the drivers are heading out for their formation lap around the Albert Park Street Circuit. Welcome everyone to the stream. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to round 1 of the Australian Grand Prix. 20 drivers will be battling it out this afternoon for the round 1 victory at the Australian Grand Prix. But in the best seat at the moment, it is X Revolution that took out pole position ahead of Zach Crichton in P2 for Mercedes. P3 will be 40-22 for Ferrari. P4 will be Zach Crichton's teammate Aaron L3F4, one of our reserve drivers as well. He's doing very good in P4 at the moment. VSR Roscoe Arm in P5 for Williams, leading Spilly in P6 for Racing Point. P7 will be Swaggy 291 for Alfa Romeo. Then it will be Zeffy in P8 for Haas. P9 will be the Racing Point driver of Jay Schmidt. And rounding out top 10 will be the Williams driver of Toddster 99. We're going to quickly swap this over as well. 2 tyres so we can see what the tyres the drivers are opting to use. The top 10 obviously all on the soft tyre. So is Crossy and Plebs down in P11 and 12. They did have fresh set, or will have fresh sets of tyres to use at the beginning of this Grand Prix. Very disappointing from result there from Plebs as well. Definitely think he would have expected to be a bit higher than where he is at the moment. Dr. Dre in P13 for Toro Rosso, leading his teammate in P14, the Rock F1. Dr. Dre opting to do a different strategy to his teammate. He's starting on the medium compound tyre. Shumbo in P15 as well for Alfa Romeo, starting on the medium compound. Curving Texas in P16, Go 1 GT, P17, P18 will be the Very Lazy Towel. And then it will be the 2 Red Bulls of Banana Cake and Sideshow Prod. Very disappointing result there. Christian Horner will not be happy at all. So they're definitely going to have to see what they can do coming into this race. As you can see now, the drivers are heading onto the grid for the Australian Grand Prix. Let me know in the live chat your top 3 predictions for the hashtag RaceSpec F1 Esports Australian Grand Prix round 1. See, the light sequence is about to begin now for the drivers. Green flags have been waved. You see the light sequence is now beginning. 4 lights, 5 red lights for the drivers for the Australian Grand Prix, and the lights around, they are underway. X Revolution gets a very nice start there, but so does Zach Crichton. He's going to try and slip down the inside. He's trying to defend from his teammate, RNL3F4. They head into turn 1, and X Revolution leads the way. 40 has now slipped into P2 for Ferrari, and that's Zach Crichton. Mel has dropped a spot down to P3. He's got his teammate right behind him, but Spilly has now gone up into P4 for Racing Point. He's going to dive down the inside on Zach Crichton and Spilly. They nearly made contact, and that's Aaron trying to hang it around the outside of Spilly. Heading into turn 4, he gets some move done though. Does Spilly, he hangs it into P4. So Aaron has dropped the spot off the start to Spilly. Set this position change so I can see who's moved up. So Spilly's moved up 2 spots from P6 for Racing Point. Very nice start from the pink Force India Racing Point team. Aaron L3F4 down in P5 now. Who was leading Zefty, who just hit the wall there. Potentially could have got wing damage from hitting that wall there. He's got Swaggy right behind him, putting the pressure on Swaggy. Didn't get that corner very nicely there. And that's actually a driver in front of that Spilly that has spun around down the back. So that's unfortunate there for the Racing Point driver. Made a mistake that I was saying a lot of drivers surprisingly didn't do. 40 nearly did it in the qualifying session. So now he's going to be having a bit of pressure now. Is Spilly from Sideshow Prod? I do believe they actually did make contact there. Did Sideshow Prod with the rear end of Spilly's gearbox. Banana Cake Pie down in P20 at the moment. Lost a few spots off the start. But X Revolution leads away now. Heading on to lap 2. They go ahead of 40-22 for Red Bull. I think there's another incident now with Todd's 99 down in P16. He spun around through the final corner. I do believe that is a bit of Williams front wing there, sitting on the right hand side of the track. So that's unfortunate there for Toddster. He's going to be dropping it down a few positions. It's unfortunate there for the Williams driver. But so far, as I was reading out, X Revolution leads away. 7/10 of a second ahead of 40-22 in the Ferrari. Zach Crichton and Aaron L3F4, the 2 Mercedes drivers in P3 and 4. Zeffy in P5, who has a lot of pressure at the moment coming from Swaggy behind him, and he's also got VSR Roscoe right behind him in P7. P8 will be Jay Schmidt for Racing Point. Crossy is right behind him as well for Ferrari. There's another yellow flag in Sector 2. That's actually 40 now that it's spun around. The driver that was sitting in P2 has unfortunately spun around. He's going to be dropping so many positions now. He's going to get overtaken by Banana Cake. Sideshow Prod potentially as well. I think Todd's is a little bit too far back, but that's unfortunate there for the Ferrari driver. I do believe he may have hit the curb, as he actually got a puncture because he's struggling to get around the corner. He may just have really hot rear tyres. That's unfortunate there for the Ferrari driver. So now that moves the 2 Mercedes up into the podium positions of Zach Crichton and Aaron L3F4. Zeffy is now into P4 for Haas, as I read out. Swaggy in P5, Roscoe on P6, P7 is Jay Schmidt. P8 will be Crossy as they now start the 3rd lap of the Grand Prix. Crossy looks like he's going to try and make a move on Jay Schmidt heading through turn 1. He's got the run. Will he dive down the inside? He's having a look, but he's going to wait for DRS around the next lap. Actually, no. He won't get DRS this straight, but he looks like he's got better traction out of turn 1 and 2. Will he drive down the inside, heading into turn 3? He's going to put his nose down there. They're going to go side by side. Heading into turn 3 does Jay Schmidt. And Crossy, he's going to try and hang it around the outside, though, with Jay Schmidt. They're wheel to wheel. But Crossy's trying to keep it in there. He's going to be down the inside for turn 6. Turn 5, I should say, and it looks like Crossy got the move done on Jay Schmidt. Now Plebs has got himself up into P8. Shumbo is right there. Sorry, I should say Curving Texas is right there. So the 2 Renaults doing a very nice job at the moment. Curving Texas is up 7 spots in this Grand Prix. Plebs is up 4, so the Renaults are really working together nicely at the moment. Up into P8 and 9 for the Renault F1 team. Plebs up 4 spots as well from P12, P11 rather. So Jay Schmidt lost a few positions there, trying to battle it out with Crossy. He tried to keep that battle going for a bit too long, and he got forced out wide, but now it looks like Shumbo may potentially get a move done on Jay Schmidt, as he did make a mistake heading through the fast left-right chicane. Will he make a move down the inside? He definitely thought about it. He moved to the inside line. Jay Schmidt locks up the inside front, which will wear his tyres down very briefly. Very slightly, I should say. But X Revolution is pulling away at the moment. He's got 3.4 seconds between him and the Mercedes drivers of Zach Crichton and Aaron, and now they're swapping positions now. Aaron, Zach Crichton, he obviously Zach thinks that Aaron is a little bit quicker than him at the moment, so he's going to let him go and just sit within his DRS for a little bit. Try and save a bit of KERS or ERS to potentially start a little fight with someone for position. See, Aaron's got 78% ERS left in Zach, who I wouldn't say is the best ERS manager. He's been known for using up his ERS very early in the race and has costed him a few times. But now the two Mercedes have swapped position, so Aaron is now up into P2, ahead of his teammate Zach Ryan Zeffy in P4, who has still got Swaggy and Roscoe on right behind him, trying to make a move. Crossy's trying to catch up to the rear of the Williams in front of him. Looks like Jay Schmidt now, and that's actually there. That was a very lazy towel that's unfortunately spun around for McLaren, heading to, I do believe that's turn 10. Turn 10 or 11. The exit there, very lazy tails, unfortunately spun around. I think he may have potentially made contact there with Jay Schmidt, because he did drop a few positions. Or a bit of time there too, did Jay Schmidt. See if Jay Schmidt does have any potential front wing damage. Doesn't look like it visually. It may have been someone else. But he does run really wide though there, does Jay Schmidt. That's going to edge. Goes 0-1 GT up a little bit closer. Also moving up from the Tier 2 rank up into Tier 1 this season. Uses up a lot of ERS so far as Goes 0-1 GT. He's only got 8% remaining so far. It's running in hot lap. Definitely would recommend dropping that down. But anyway. Now it looks like 40 has moved ahead of some of the drivers. The Rock is now in the pit lane. Very early stop here from the Toro Rosso driver, but he is making a front wing change. Todster down in P20 at the moment. He's on the medium compounded tyre, so he can go for a little while on this set. Hasn't been a very good start to the Australian Grand Prix for the Williams driver. Next Revolution still edging out that gap to Aaron L304. There's that yellow flag again. Is that Dr. Dre? That looks like he's had an incident. Now that's a very lazy towel that's unfortunately retired from the session. Looks like he may have just retired himself there, so I'm not too sure what's happened to Towel. Could that potentially bring out the first safety car of the Grand Prix? He's now left the session as Towel, so that's unfortunate for him. And see now, Zach Ryan's actually lost a few positions here. He's must have made a mistake. So now Zeffy, Swaggy, and VSR Roscoe Arm has now moved up ahead of him. So now Zach's dropped all the way back down to P6. But he is now coming into the pits. Has he got front wing damage? He has. He's got no end plates on either side of that front wing. So that's unfortunate there for Zach Ryan, the driver that was looking good at the start of the season, or the end of last season, was looking good to win the title. But unfortunately now he's got a little front wing damage. He's had to come into the pits very early in this race. Going very slow down this pit lane too, unfortunately, so it's going to be costing him heaps. Jay Schmidt now looks like he's got passed by his teammate Spilly. Into P9 Spilly goes, after having that spin through the left right chicane on the opening lap of the Grand Prix. Plebs and Curving Texas are now starting to put the pressure on the Ferrari in front of him. The two Renaults doing a very nice job at the moment. Plebs is up 5 spots as it stands, and Curving Texas, his teammate, up 8 spots. Curving Texas, I do believe he won 14, or actually more. I think he finished on the podium at least. I think only 3 races last season Curving Texas did not finish on the podium in Tier 2. And the majority of them he won. He won like 14 of the races. But now it looks like Zeffy is still making a little, still struggling on those tyres. He is on the soft compounded tyres, so potentially could have already taken the life out of those tyres very early in the Grand Prix already. The rear is very jumpy at the moment from that Haas car. Doesn't have the stability that he wants at the moment. Does Zeffy? Crossy is looking like he's going to have the run into turn 1. Will he make a move? Zeffy tries to defend the inside. Crossy has a little bit of a he was undecided there which way he wanted to go, but Zeffy actually made a mistake there, I do believe. Heading through the exit of turn 1 now. This is going to move Plebs and potentially Curving Texas up into P6. Curving Texas, unfortunately, it's a little bit too far back. He tried to drive down the inside, was very deep under brakes compared to Zeffy, but unfortunately Zeffy has lost 2 positions to Crossy F1 and Plebs in the space of around 3 corners. So he won't be happy with that, will the Haas driver. So his teammate at the moment is still trying to get into that top 10. He's sitting in P11 at the moment, goes 0-1 GT. You can see now, Extra Evolution, halfway through lap 7 of 29 of the Australian Grand Prix. Still edging a gap out between him and Aaron. It's sitting around that 4.6 mark. Swaggy is still holding on to P3 ahead of Roscoe Arm in P4. P5 will be Crossy still for Ferrari. Curving Texas needs to get ahead of Zeffy, and as I just said that, Zeffy made another error heading through the final sector. That moves the Renault driver up into P7. He's obviously struggling massively at the moment. Is Zeffy. He's now coming in for a very early and unscheduled pit stop by the looks of it. So now Zeffy is in the pit lane. He's going to be dropping a few positions, but Jay Schmidt and Swilly, the two racing points, are still going at it. Also, if you didn't know, this season as well, for Season 2 of the Regional Series, there is a massive Teams Championship going on as well. So, basically, all the Mercedes drivers in the Regional Series from the Pacific Series, all tiers, the European Series from all tiers, and all the Americas Series on all platforms and tiers, we're adding all the points up together for each team, and there will be a massive championship between the teams basically. And as you can see, Go01 GT struggling with the rears again. So both the Haas's seem to be struggling massively with rear traction or rear stability. Zach Crichton now has dropped down all the way back to P16 as he has made a pit stop, has now got himself a 3-second time penalty. Pushing a little bit too much, trying to catch up the Sideshow Prod in the Red Bull in front of him. Banana Cake is ahead of him, Sideshow's teammate MP14 at the moment. He's got his sister teammate Dr. Dre in front of him, who did cut that corner there very briefly. Nearly runs it out into the grass there, does Dr. Dre. The 40 has now moved himself up into P12 after that little incident he had. There's 20 laps remaining in this Grand Prix, but it looks like Shumbo and Go01 GT are going at it. The two Tier 2 drivers who have moved up into Tier 1 this year, they're going side by side, heading through the final sector they go. And it looks like now Go01 GT coming into the pits very early in this race, as his teammate did as well. So both the Haas are struggling massively on rear grip by the looks of it. Hi B John, welcome to the stream, mate. Swaggy291 now. MP4 has got a 3-second time penalty. VSR Roscoe Arm has now moved ahead of them. So Swaggy, so now he's moved himself up into the podium position, has Roscoe Arm. Currently 6 different teams at the moment in the top 6 as it stands. Curving Texas in the Renault, right behind his teammate Plevs. He's fallen off a little bit to his teammate. He's going to have to try and catch up as he did get stuck behind. I do believe that was Zeffy for a little while. Well, a little bit longer than what his teammate did. Plevs starting to catch up to the rear of Crossy. Well, Crossy's actually pulled a little bit away now from Plevs, but Crossy's going to start to get held up here as he's in a little battle now with Swaggy and Roscoe Arm. Swaggy made a massive error there, heading into that fast right-hander. He lost the rear massively. It looked like he just turned it in way too hard and he lost the rear. So now that's going to move Crossy right onto the rear of Swaggy. Now Plebs is right there as well for Renault. Now Swaggy peels off into the pit lane as the drivers now start lap 10 of the Grand Prix. This is going to move Crossy and Plebs up a spot, same as Turving, Texas. Now Extra Evolution, our race leader, is now into the pit lane for his first scheduled stop by the looks of it. Those soft tyres not running very long into this race. Disengaged the pit limiter a bit late there, did Extra Evolution. He went a couple of meters down the pit lane before he actually disengaged it. But anyway, Aaron now leads the way as he is still yet to make a pit stop. VSR Roscoe sitting in P2 at the moment. He's got Crossy, F1 and Plebs behind him. Swaggy now has another 3-second time penalty down in P12, so now he's got 6 seconds worth of penalties, I do believe. But Aaron still leads the way, as I said, ahead of Roscoe Arm, Crossy, Plebs, Curving Texas. Jay Schmidt in P6 for Racing Point. P7 is Extra Evolution. P8 is Shumbo. Extra Evolution is the first of the drivers to make a scheduled pit stop so far. He's on a fresh set of the yellow stripe medium compound of tyre. Will we see Aaron L3F4 in the pit lane this lap? Wouldn't be surprised if we do. Responding to the pit of Extra Evolution, he does come in the pits now. Will we see Roscoe in the pits as well? No, he stays out for another lap. But Crossy does come in the pits. He's going to try and do an undercut potentially on on Roscoe And as you can see, Plebs now trying to do an overcut potentially on Crossy. going to get that 1 lap extra. He feels that his soft tyres are feeling alright at the moment. Say it's very early in the race so far for the drivers to be pitting onto that set of medium set of tyres. Aaron now has lost a lot of time here. 2 extra evolution. Extra evolution's gained over 5 seconds there, just making that pit stop 1 lap earlier. Now Dr. Dre is going to potentially make a move on Aaron here. He's going to have the slipstream. No DRS available as he was not within a second when he crossed the DRS detection zone. Zach Ryan has now moved himself up in the P7, but he will be potentially getting some warm medium tyres before the other drivers, who will most likely be doing a 2-stop in this Grand Prix, as he did have to make a stop very early in this lap, I do believe on lap 6 of this Grand Prix, to change a front wing. Looks like Zach's getting very close to the rear of the Toro Rosso. Dr. Dre, I don't believe will put up too much of a fight. He just moves out of the way there of Zach Ryan. Knows that he's fast and there's no point putting up a battle for P6 in the Grand Prix. So far, Swaggy is now MP8. He's going to have a really nice run here on Dr. Dre, who unfortunately ran a little bit wide, and now he's getting out of the way as well. Is Dr. Dre again. Doesn't want to fight with these drivers that are on different strategies. Dr. Dre obviously starting on the medium set of tyres, so he is not on the same strategy as the drivers that he just let through. So there's no point putting up a battle for that position. Extra Evolution still going fastest with a 23.965. Okay, so the very lazy tail unfortunately got caught up in somebody else's incident and was forced to retire from the race. So that's unfortunate there for the McLaren team. It's not going to be good for their constructors' standings after round 1. Roscoe Armour's now made a pit stop for Williams. Into P8 he goes. He has actually been jumped now by Crossy. Plebs unfortunately was not able to get that overcut done on Crossy, but Crossy actually got the undercut done on VSR Roscoe Arm. P10 for Zephy at the moment. P11 will be Banana Cake Pie, who is still yet to make a stop. So it's Sideshow Prod and Curving Texas, and Sideshow Prod have just gone wheel to wheel there, and they've actually made contact. Curving Texas looked like he dived down the inside of Sideshow Prod, and now VSR Roscoe Arm has a 3-second time penalty. I do believe he just went through this corner that Sideshow Prod is heading through now, and unfortunately decut that corner. So that's got him a 3-second time penalty for this Grand Prix. Curving Texas looked like they just forced Sideshow out a little bit wide. Didn't give him much room, but now that's actually Spilly and Curving Texas. Spilly dived down the inside of Curving Texas there. Heading into the final sector they went. Willie dived back down the inside. Willie wait for DRS. It looks like the Racing Point driver will wait for DRS on the Renault in front of him. Heading down the main straight they go now. Doesn't look like Spilly will be able to make a move on Curving Texas. Heading through turn 1. Through turn 2 they go. He runs it out very wide there, does Spilly. 40 now, down in P15, has got a time penalty, but now Spilly goes down the inside on Curving Texas. Heading into turn 3 they go. It looks like the Racing Point driver has got ahead of Curving Texas. Now he's moved up into P12, has Spilly. But Zach Ryan, I do believe, just made a move there on the 2 Alfa Romeos of Swag and Shumbo. Zach Ryan back up into P3. But he's got 2.2 seconds between him and his teammate in front. But he will most likely have to make another stop, will Zach, because he did pit very early in this Grand Prix onto that set of medium tyres. Struggling massively there is Swaggy with rear grip. Shumbo, his teammate, is in P5 at the moment. So both the Mercedes and Alfa Romeo is doing very nice at the moment. Both teams have both their drivers within the top 5. Unfortunately for McLaren, they only have 1 car remaining in this race. The very lazy tail unfortunately retired from the session after getting too much damage from an incident that he got himself into. Currently the drivers of the day looking at the moment is Shumbo, who's currently moved up 10 spots. I do this normally on who's moved up the most spots in the Grand Prix, and at the moment it looks like it is Shumbo that's moved up the most. Crossy's going to try and catch up to the rear of that Alfa Romeo car. But he's actually got Roscoe still behind him, has Crossy. Plebs is trying to keep up with that battle back, but he's still struggling just to keep with the pace of the Ferrari and the Williams in front of him. Dr. Dre now MP9, obviously on the alternate strategy to the majority of the other drivers, starting on the medium tyres, will most likely be going onto the softs. But as we've seen so far, the majority of the soft runners that started on the softs has not lasted very long on that compound, so he will be needing to go very long into this race. And now we just watched Billy get a 3-second time penalty down at P11 for multiple corner cutting warnings. So that's going to cost him a little bit when it comes towards the end of the race, but I do believe Swaggy has the most time penalties at the moment. He has 6 seconds, I do believe, for the Alfa Romeo team. Kevin Tex is struggling to keep onto the rear of that racing point, but now he's going to have 40-22 behind him, trying to catch up to the rear. Drivers are now on lap 15 of the Grand Prix. Unfortunately, Todd has not been able to make any moves after that little incident he had midway through the first stint. He's up into P19, but he looks like he's starting to catch up to the Rock F1. What tyres is Toddy on? He is on the medium tyre, so by the looks of it, he will have to probably make another pit stop in this Grand Prix. Now, as you can see, Ghost 01 GT and Sideshow Prod look like they're having a little tight battle for P16 in this Grand Prix. Ghost 01 GT's got a very nice run on Sideshow Prod. He's going to go down the inside on the hard compound tyre. He gets the move done. Do they make contact? They do make contact there. And it looks like the harsh driver nearly spun around there. That's another incident that Sideshow's got into. So I do believe that is the second incident now Sideshow Prod has got into in this Grand Prix. Ghost 01 GT, I'm not too sure if he gave him any room. Again, did Sideshow, but that's probably the second time that he has been spun out already in this race. Or half spun, I should say. As Sideshow now, Aaron, MP2, has got a 3-second time penalty. Shumbo and Plevs are going at it actually, so now Plevs has moved up into P7. You can see the understeer there Shumbo just had heading through turn 1. Nearly full 90-degree turn. Probably a bit more. See what he's doing through this turn. Has he got a bit of front wing damage potentially? He may potentially have front wing damage here, does Shumbo. It doesn't look like it visually, but he may just be running a very understeery setup, potentially. Extra Evolution still leads the way for McLaren, heading on to lap 16 they go. 13 laps remain in this Grand Prix. He's got just under 7 seconds between him and Aaron L3F4 in the Mercedes, who cuts that corner there. That's definitely going to give him a warning, without a doubt. Swaggy MP3 at the moment. He's got 2.1 seconds between him and Aaron. Zach Crine's unfortunately falling off the back a little bit now that his tyres are going to begin to wear out. Crossy F1 MP5 for Ferrari. VSR Roscoe Arm MP6. P7 is Plevs. P8 is Shumbo. P9 is Zephy. And P10, well, rounding out the top 10, is the Racing Point of Spilly, who is trying to catch up to Zephy in the Haas. Heading down the main straight now is Spilly. He's going to try and make a move down the inside. He does. He gets alongside the harsh driver. They're going to go side by side, heading through turn 1. Will he get the move done? It looks like Spilly has now moved himself up into P8 for the Grand Prix. Now that moves Zephy back down to P9 now. I do believe the driver actually just made a pit stop. Was that Shumbo that has unfortunately spun around? No, he is in the pit lane for his first scheduled stop. He is now onto the soft compound of tyres. He's pushing those tyres very long into the race. And now Todd has finally moved up a spot. And that actually looks like the two Sideshow in there. And the Rock have made contact. So the two Red Bull sponsored cars have unfortunately spun around. I'm not too sure. I didn't see what happened there, but Sideshow is having a shocker race at the moment. He's getting run into by everyone at this stage. That's unfortunate there for Sideshow. He will not be happy with that. I know that for a fact. But anyway, Extra Evolution. He's about to start lap 18 of this Grand Prix now. 11 laps will remain when he crosses the line as he has now. On your screen now, as you can see at the right hand side of your screen, the RaceSpec F1 Esports social medias. Our Twitter is at RaceSpec Esports, Instagram at race.spec, and our Facebook RaceSpec F1 Esports. Be sure to give them a follow and a like. It'd be much appreciated to get updates on all announcements for the Grand Prix. Zach Crichton still sitting in P4 at the moment. Most likely will have to make another pit stop. Said that about 50 times, but anyway. Sideshow Prod now down in P19 has just sped into the pit lane, so he's got a 5-second time penalty, and he does have to change his front wing there due to unfortunate contact there with his sister teammate, The Rock. And now Zach Crichton in P4 has got another 3-second time penalty, so that is up to 6 seconds worth of penalties. The Mercedes driver now has his yellow flag in Sector 2. What's that for? Must have just been a local yellow, potentially. No, that's actually Todster now that has unfortunately spun around again. For Williams, he's having a shocker race as well. Unfortunate there for the Williams driver. Definitely will not be where he wants to be. Now 40 looks like he's just got ahead of Zeffy. Into P9 the Ferrari goes. Yes, very tight there between the Haas driver and 40. 40, obviously I do believe, I'm trying to remember, I think he qualified P2. I know I've definitely got that. I think I've got that wrong, but anyway. Let me turn that off. But now Jay Schmidt has got ahead of Dr. Dre. Now Dr. Dre is into the pits with 10 laps remaining in this Grand Prix to chuck on a fresh set of soft tyres. And now that's actually the Rock F1 that has unfortunately spun around through the final sector, and he's struggling to get going here. Could this potentially bring out the safety car? He's driving the wrong way down the track, trying to spin it around. He's spun up the rear tyres massively there. That's definitely going to hurt his tyre temperatures, but Extra Evolution is now catching up to a few lap cars, that being, or them being, I should say, Sideshow Prod in the, not Ferrari, the Red Bull. That's the Rock, still struggling to get going as he's now run off the track again. He's going to be coming up now to Sideshow Prod and Extra Evolution. Now Swaggy's caught up to the rear of Aaron. He's got that gap under a second, so now he does have DRS available to that Alfa Romeo car. So I'm going to bring up tyres here so we can see how old these tyres are. You can see Swaggy's done 10 laps on his tyres and Aaron has done 9. Swaggy putting a lot of pressure at the moment on that Mercedes in front, trying to make or force Aaron into a little mistake here. This is the battle at the moment for the second spot on the podium. Zach Crichton's fallen off that train a lot now. He's going to potentially be starting to get caught by Crossy. I don't think Zach might actually be going for another pit stop, because I definitely would have pitted by now. You can see how cautious he's having to be on that rear accelerator. Sorry, on that accelerator pedal. He still does have DRS at the moment, does Swaggy. He's still sitting around that 5/10 mark. He was a lot closer through Sector 1, but unfortunately with the dirty air effects, he's lost a couple of tenths to Aaron. Locks up the inside front, and that pushes him a little bit wide on the exit, heading through the final sector. He's in the slipstream now. There's Swaggy's around the same gap as he was last lap. He's unfortunately not close enough to Swaggy, as there is now a yellow flag in Sector 2. I do believe that's actually Banana Cake Pie, who's potentially spun around or had an incident. I think he has just spun around or had a little bit of accident or something that's happened starting the third sector. And then we're going to go back to Swaggy and Aaron. Swaggy does cut that inside corner again. There's still a yellow flag. Now Dr. Dre has retired from the session. Could we potentially see a safety car to bunch everyone back up in this Grand Prix? I said this would definitely, if there is a safety car, that would definitely work very good for Zach Crichton. He will be able to come in and chuck a fresh set of soft compound of tyres on. A fresh set of I'm not even saying that right. A soft compound of tyre. I'm still not saying that right. A fresh set of tyres on. That's the word to say. Now Banana Cake Pie down. In P15 has now got a 5-second time penalty. Force meeting in the pit lane, so he may have lost his front wing by the looks of it. Still that yellow flag in Sector 3. We're heading through that Sector 3 now. It looks like Aaron is coming up to it now. Tods has retired from the session from P17. So now that makes it 3 retirements from the Australian Grand Prix. Will we see a safety car now? We've got to see a safety car eventually. See Toddy's car pulling off to the side there of the track. It's unfortunate for the Rocket Williams team. I think 40 actually just made a little mistake there. He's lost a little bit of time, I think. 2 Curving Texas and Spilly in front. Well, he definitely dropped down a few positions. He's now had to come into the pits now. Has the Ferrari of 40. His day's gone from bad to worse, unfortunately, for the Ferrari driver. Sorry, it's not letting me swap camera angles to see if he does have front wing damage. He most likely will be doing a front wing change. Here we go, as you can see. Ferrari mechanics there, changing his front wing. And Extra Evolution just making his way at the moment through the lap traffic. That is Sideshow Prod, I do believe, in front of him. Actually, no, it is Banana Cake Pie, I do believe. Actually, no, it is Sideshow Prod. Sideshow's been in front of Extra Evolution for a little while now, so I think Sideshow is on the soft compound of tyre. He is on the soft compound. Final sector, Extra Evolution goes. There'll be 7 laps remaining in this Grand Prix. When he crosses the line now, VSR Roscoe Arm. Looks like he's got a head now, finally, of Crossy. Clev's a little bit too far back to make a move on the Ferrari, but now Roscoe Arm moves himself up into P5 for Williams. At least one of the Williams drivers are doing good in this race. Now Sideshow Prod has now got a 5-second time penalty for ignoring yellow flags on Extra Evolution. So I do believe he has over 10 seconds worth of penalties at the moment, does Sideshow Prod. I just want to double check. I don't think Extra Evolution does have any time penalties, but I want to just make sure. He does. He has a 3-second, a 6-second penalty at the moment as Extra Evolution. Aaron has 6 seconds as well. Swaggy has more than 6 seconds, I do believe. 3, 6, 9, 12 seconds of penalties does Swaggy. Zach Crichton has 6 seconds. Roscoe Arm currently has 3 seconds. Crossy has 3 seconds at the moment. So currently the top 3 all have 6 seconds worth. So the top 4, I should say, all have 6 seconds or more penalties at the moment. So the podium could potentially come down 2 time penalties in the end if these guys all bunch up, because Swag is still on the rear of Aaron. Aaron does have the fresher tyres by around 2-ish laps, I do believe, compared to Swaggy. Zach Crichton's still falling off the back of that train massively there. Doesn't look like he'll be making another stop. Will Roscoe Arm be able to catch up to the rear of Zach Crichton coming towards the end of the Grand Prix? Five laps remaining in this Grand Prix. Definitely going to be a tight battle, especially for P2. Swaggy's a lot closer now. On Aaron, will he dive down the inside? He definitely thought about it. He's a little bit twitchy on the steering. Aaron's running a little bit wide through this middle sector. More invitations for Swaggy to get down the inside. On Aaron in front of him. Just trying to get the move done. He's been sitting behind him a bit too long now, has Swaggy. He's got to get a move on if he wants any potential chance of catching up to Extra Evolution, but I think he is a little bit too far ahead now with Revolution. So currently the driver that has moved up the most spots is currently Curving Texas. In P9 at the moment. He's moved up 7 spots. All the other drivers have moved up 5. Well, the next, I should say, the next driver, well, there's multiple drivers that have moved up 5 spots, I should say. Zeffy now has a 3-second time penalty down in P13. He's trying to catch up to his teammate and Shumbo. Another yellow flag in Sector 2. What's that for? That's actually there. That is 40-22 now. This is unfortunately spun around. I do believe that is the fast right-hander. It is, so it potentially could have got on the grass. And unfortunately, he may have more front wing damage. He's going to potentially have to fix. Change camera angle, come on. See if he does have any front wing damage. On that Ferrari, it doesn't look like it visually, but doesn't mean that he doesn't. Unfortunate there for the Ferrari team. Crossy only being able to settle for P6 at the moment. He's been passed by Roscoe Arm in front, but Plevs is now starting to catch up to Crossy as well. Used a lot of ERS at the moment, has Plevs. So Swaggy's got a lot more ERS compared to Aaron in front of him, but Aaron's fortunately, by the looks of it here, is going to get DRS of Sideshow Prod, which is definitely going to help him when it comes to staying ahead of Swaggy. There's Sideshow pulling off to the right, trying to get out of the way of these two drivers battling it out for P2 in this Grand Prix. Final sector they go now. Extra Evolution, by the looks of it, he does have Banana Cake Pie he will be catching up to very soon. In that Red Bull. Two Red Bulls not doing very well in this race so far. Definitely would have thought they'd be up there a little bit more. Especially Banana Cake Pie. He's normally very quick in multiplayer races, but unfortunately he hasn't been able to convert that over into the league race today. Three laps remain. Go 01 GT and Shumbo look like they're going at it. At the moment, Go 01 GT still sitting ahead. Actually, no, he has just got ahead of Shumbo, I should say. So that is the battle for P11. Unfortunately, no points are up for grabs at the moment for P11. Now the Harsh driver up the spot on that Alfa Romeo. But I do believe it is Extra Evolution that does have the fastest lap. I'll quickly have a look. No, it's actually not. It's 40-22 down in P14. So unfortunately, he will not be getting that extra point, but he will be taking that point off any of the other drivers if he can maintain it. He will not be getting that extra point, as you do have to be in the top 10 to what's the word? To get that 1 point for fastest lap of the Grand Prix. There's a little battle still going on between Swaggy and Aaron. He's made a little mistake there. Swaggy ran very deep into the corner. Lost the rear end. Looks like Aaron's driven away from him a little bit. Over a second now, the gap between Swaggy and Aaron. So unfortunately now Swaggy is at a DRS range. He's going to have a little bit of work to do now if he wants to get back within that DRS range of Aaron in front of him. Very tight. It's 1.0 seconds. So if he can get that gap just under 1 second when he heads over the DRS detection zone, which is at the end of this little straight here, I do believe. Roscoe Arm now has another 3-second time penalty, so he has 6 seconds worth of penalties now. So I do believe the top 4 all now have 6 seconds of penalties. But now Roscoe Arm's actually got into P4, I should say. So he's got ahead of Crossy F1 and Zach Crichton. So now Plevs, so it looks like Zach's now really struggling on that set of medium tyres. You can see the amount of rear traction he's having to manage there compared to Crossy F1. He's probably and most likely going to drop behind Plevs here, and potentially Spilly as well. Curving Texas is a little bit too far behind, so he may drop down all the way back to P8. Will Zach Crichton, unfortunately with that front wing damage at the beginning of the race, that screwed over his strategy. So that's unfortunate for the Mercedes team. Luckily though, the reserve driver of Aaron, Spilly and Kashoosh, I think that's how you say it, the spot is in P2. Zach Crichton now in the pit lane. Potentially be trying to go for the fastest lap. He chucks on a fresh set of soft tyres with 2 laps to go. Extra Evolution now on the penultimate lap of the Grand Prix. Zach Crichton will most likely just come out in front of Jay Schmidt It's actually going to be a bit tight here between Jay Schmidt and Zach Crichton. Zach's going to come out of the pits now, as you can see on the right-hand side. He's got to stay in that top 10 if he wants to get that extra point. See, Jay Schmidt had a really nice drive out of that first corner, but unfortunately lost the rear traction a little bit on acceleration. He's going to have really worn medium tyres, but Zach's already locking up the inside front, trying to get a little bit of heat into those tyres. Well, he's struggling to, I should say. But Extra Evolution now is about to start the final lap of the PS4 Pacific Series Australian Grand Prix Tier 1 League. Heads to the final corner, starting, well, about to start, I should say, his final lap of the Australian Grand Prix. 5.8 kilometers, I do believe it is. He will have to complete. He's got a massive gap between him and Aaron, but now Swaggy's unfortunately dropped off a little bit between him and Aaron. There is still time penalties to play as well. I know the top three, and that's actually Swaggy now in the wall. He's lost front left end plate there, so now could that bring Roscoe arm? If he does, unfortunately, he will have a lot of understeer this final lap here. Will Swaggy, he lost his front left end plate there and a little bit of his actual front wing. On the left-hand side, he's understeering everywhere, so will this bring Roscoe arm? Will he be able to go a bit fast enough to catch up to Swaggy? I do believe all our top four at the moment, top five actually I should say, do have 6 seconds of penalties. Not too sure what Plebs... Oh, the voice crack. I'm not too sure what Plebs has. But it'll be interesting to see where everyone ends up after time penalties, but Revolution is now starting the third sector. Well, he has started the third sector. As I said, he's led from the start. He's fastest in qualifying, fastest in the race by a pretty hefty margin. Unfortunately, didn't get the triple crown with the fastest lap, but he's going to head through the final section of corners now. Runs very wide through the penultimate corner, but it doesn't matter because I think he's actually trying to potentially let Sideshow go here, or Banana Cake, so he can finish his other lap, his final lap. He's also letting Zeffy go, but he's going to come across the line now with Extra Evolution, and he's going to win the Australian Grand Prix for round one of the Pacific Series. Congratulations to Revolution. Aaron's going to come home P2 for Mercedes, ahead of Swaggy in P3 by the looks of it. Swaggy's going to come home P3 for Alfa Romeo. P4 will be VSR Roscoe. No, he's actually going to move up into P3 now. Here's Roscoe Armside, podium position finish for the Williams team. Crossy's going to come home P4 in the end. Swaggy's got a lot more penalties. I forgot he had like 12 seconds worth of penalties. So Crossy's going to come home P4. P5 will be Plebs in the Renault. P6 will be Swaggy. P7 will be Spilly. And P8 will be Curving Texas. 7 different teams in the top 7 at the moment, may I point out as well. Very competitive league here for the Race Spec F1 Esports PS4 Pacific Series Tier 1. Congratulations to our top 3 place getters. Curving Texas is going to come home P8, as I read out before. Zach Crichton's going to end up P9. I don't believe he actually got the fastest lap in the end. He actually did, I should say. So he's going to take home 2 points here for the Australian Grand Prix. So 3 points, I should say, as he did finish P9. P10 will be Go01 GT, Schmidt, MP11 for Racing Point, P12 will be the Alfa Romeo of Shumbo, P13 will unfortunately be 40, unfortunately. Was very quick at the beginning of the race, but unfortunately got tangled up in a few incidents of his own. Spun around a couple of times, so he's going to have to settle for P13. Going to read out here your provisional results for the Pacific Series PS4 Tier 1 League. You can see our drivers heading out on the podium now. Congratulations to the McLaren F1 team, taking home a full 25 points. Unfortunately, it will only be 25 points. What's his name? The Very Lazy Tower did not finish a race. So that's unfortunate there for the McLaren team, but also a very good result for them as well. But as you can see now, the provisional results here for the Australian Grand Prix. Extra Evolution took home the win ahead of Aaron L304 for Mercedes. Williams driver of Roscoe Arms going to come home P3 on the final step of the podium. Crossy's going to come home P4 for Ferrari ahead of the Renault of Plebs. Swaggy's going to be in P6 for Alfa Romeo, and P7 will be the Racing Point of Spilly. P8 is Curving Texas for Renault. P9 will be Zach Crichton in the end, and then running out top 10 will be Go01 GT. P11 will be XX Schmidt For Racing Point, P12 will be Shumbo, P13 40 22, P14 Zephy, P15 will be Banana Cake leading his teammate Sideshow, Prod MP16, P17 will be the Rock F1, P18, and the first of our retirements. Actually, I think the Rock actually retired from the session as well. Actually, no, it was unfortunately Toddster, Dr. Dre, and the Very Lazy Towel all unfortunately retired from the session. But that has been your Race Spec F1 Esports PS4 Pacific Series Tier 1 League. If you guys are new around here, please do hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications to get notified when the channel does go live. Up very soon will be the Americas and the European Series, so stay tuned for that. But for now, my name is Expert, and I will see you guys next time.